They said men are the head of the house, but this one was the tale of disgrace, an African father who threw away 4 diamonds because he was hunting for a stone he called a son. This is the story of Baba Jide. It was supposed to be a day of joy. The compound buzzed with the sound of a new baby's cry. Neighbors brought wrappers and fresh pap. The old midwife smiled at Mama Nken, wiped her brow and whispered, "You've done well. She's beautiful." But Baba Jide stood outside the room like a coiled snake. When they told him, "It's a girl," his face twisted like he'd been slapped by poverty. He barged into the room, threw his hands in the air and shouted, "Another girl. 4. You want to kill me, Nken? What kind of womb do you carry, Hein? You think I married you for decoration?" Mama Nken, still bleeding and weak, tried to reason with him. "Jide, it's not me that decides. Children, boys or girls, come from God." He barked back, "God? Don't bring God into this. Your own God is clearly a feminist. You've cursed me with a house full of skirts and gossip." He stormed out and spat on the floor. "You want me to die without a son? Me, a whole Jide Okonkwo of Niue, the last born of 7 boys. My name must continue. Not with hair-plaiting apprentices." He wasn't just angry, he was wicked. He refused to pay the naming ceremony woman. He refused to carry the baby or even look at her. When the priest came for dedication, Baba Jide said, "Dedicate what? You want me to carry disgrace on my head in church?" And from that day forward, the baby girl was simply called the mistake. Neighbors whispered. Old Mama Ifeoma said, "This man is mad. One day he will eat those words." But Baba Jide didn't care. He insulted his wife publicly. On market days, he would lean against his kiosk and tell fellow traders, "Nken has failed me. All she knows how to do is reproduce bridesmaids. Useless effort." His friend Odogwu tried to pull him aside once and said, "Bro, these children are your blood. They will grow. Don't let anger make you blind." But Baba Jide only laughed and said, "Blood? Their blood is diluted. Only a son has real blood. The rest are expenses." Mama Nken tried. Oh, she tried. She knelt before him once with a newborn tied on her back and said, "Let's raise them. You'll see. Our daughters will make us proud." He looked her dead in the eye and said, "Woman, you're raising a choir, not a family. Don't deceive yourself." Then walked away like he didn't leave a wound behind, a heart hardened like rock. He never asked how school fees were paid, never offered 1 cup of rice or 1 bar of soap. When he passed by his old house and saw the girls playing with plastic bottles, he shook his head and muttered, "Let them keep jumping rope. Vio, when I get my son, you'll see real future." He wasn't just absent, he was aggressively unavailable. A man who used his tongue as a blade and swung it mercilessly at his own. When Baba Jide walked out, he didn't just leave a wife, he abandoned a war zone with no commander. Mama Nken, once known for her soft voice and Sunday school smiles, became something else entirely, a lioness in a wrapper. With no pension, no bride price refund, and no apologies from life. She wiped her tears, tied her scarf tighter, and went to war for her girls. Food. Sometimes it was just gari and water. On hard days, no sugar. Just salt, to trick the stomach into thinking it was soup. She would say, "Eat it with courage, my daughters. It is temporary hunger. But your education, that one lasts forever." She sold akara in the morning, roasted corn in the afternoon, and taught primary school kids maths in the evening for 100 naira per child. Mama Nken ran the house like a military barracks when it came to education. She would iron their uniforms by candlelight. She hand-washed their socks every Saturday, and every Sunday night, she checked their books, even if she could barely see through her tired eyes. She often said, "I don't have money for big hospitals or big cars, but I will sell this wrapper if it means you sit for that WAEC." And they all passed with flying colors. Not one repeat, not one dropout, not one pregnancy. They earned scholarships, awards, and respect. But even then, Baba Jide never asked, never once picked up a phone, never sent a letter. He just repeated his favorite line, "I know born Pekin. Now woman factory I get before." Her firstborn, Adora, was only 11 when she became deputy mother. She could calculate market profit faster than some adults could spell budget. While her mates played 10-10 and braided Barbie dolls, Adora was helping her mother count change after market runs. By 13, she was helping to write customer orders. By 15, she was negotiating with wholesalers. She learned to buy low, sell high, and hide money in a broken flask under the bed, just in case Mama fell sick. Adora used to whisper to her sisters, "We can cry later. For now, let's help Mummy stand." And they did. Each of the girls developed a kind of brilliance, forged not in luxury but in necessity. Kamsi, the second, used to read her classmates' textbooks under streetlights when NEPA failed. She loved arguing with their neighbor's son and soon became the defender of the compound in every debate. It was no surprise when she became a lawyer. Ngozi, the quiet one, would volunteer to help at the local clinic even as a teenager. She watched every nurse like a hawk and knew how to dress wounds before she got her period. Now, Dr. Ngozi is saving lives with the same calm her mother used to calm fevers with damp towels. Ola, the mistake, was the last born but the most defiant. She once built a dollhouse using broomsticks, cardboard, and leftover nails. Today, she builds real houses as a civil engineer. Baba Jide didn't just remarry, he celebrated. He paraded the streets of the village with a bottle of schnapps, shouting like a man who had just won the lottery. "My people, the gods have finally answered me. A son, a proper child. The lion has given birth to a cub." The compound was filled with noise, drummers, dancers, and meat. Even the town crier came uninvited. He named the child Jide Jr., of course. Others suggested a name like Chukwemeka or Ifeoma, but Baba Jide said, "No need for all those long names. This one is me, version 2.0. This boy will be 10 times greater than me." And he believed it. From the moment the boy started crawling, Baba Jide was obsessed. He gave him a mini generator just so he could play video games during power outages. When Junior scribbled on the walls, Baba said, "Ah, that's creativity. Future architect." When Junior beat another child at school, Baba clapped, "That's leadership. A lion must dominate." He refused to let anyone correct the boy. "Don't shout at my son. He's not a village goat like the others." At 10, Jide Jr. had a tablet, a smartphone, and a housemaid. At 13, he started wearing sunglasses indoors and calling himself Boss J. At 15, he had already failed his WAEC twice, but Baba Jide shrugged. School is not everything. After all, Bill Gates dropped out. Meanwhile, the land was drying up. Baba Jide began selling his land one plot at a time. For the boy's future, he said. He paid for online business courses the boy never attended, funded ventures the boy never launched, even bought him a shop. That turned into a lounge for his jobless friends. Junior never opened the shop again. Instead, he started doing online forex that looked suspiciously like gambling. When the boy crashed the family car, Baba said, Cars are replaceable, sons are not. Neighbors whispered, "This man is digging his own grave with a golden spoon." But Baba would just wave them off. Una day jealous. Do you have a son? Every year, Baba Jide celebrated Junior's birthday like it was a national holiday. Gifts, cakes, jollof rice with cow leg. He once brought a magician from Enugu just to make the boy smile. But the boy, lazy, entitled, rude. He had the swagger of a chief, with the IQ of a yam. Still, Baba Jide wore him like a badge of honor. My boy is just taking his time. Greatness is not rushed. He even introduced him at community meetings as the next big thing to come out of this town. Everyone smiled politely, but behind closed doors, they said, the only thing coming out of that boy is disappointment. Meanwhile, the daughters thrived. Quietly, far away, Mama and Kem's girls were graduating, launching careers, earning respect. Their photos appeared in newspapers. People said, "You hear? That's Mama and Kem's girl, a whole doctor." But Baba Jide, he never mentioned them. He would say, "Those ones are their mother's project. My own is this one, Jide Jr., the heir, the pillar of my name." If only he knew that the pillar he built was hollow. The downfall didn't come like a storm. It came like slow poison. The first sign, the last 2 plots of land, gone, sold for another business idea, Jide Jr. swore, was the next Dangote empire. The business, an online sneaker store with no website, no inventory, and no common sense. Next, the generator stopped working. Then NEPA struck, and there was no fuel. But Baba said, "No wahala. A man of destiny doesn't need light to shine." But light wasn't the problem. Darkness was. His dear Amara, the wife of his legacy, quietly booked a one-way flight to Dubai with a new travel agent who called her Madam Investor. She left behind a sticky note. "Take care of your king. I've done my part." He didn't cry. He couldn't, because his pride was louder than his pain. One hot Tuesday afternoon, Baba Jide collapsed in front of his house, right there near the gutter, holding his waist like a disgraced masquerade. People gathered. One woman screamed, "Iwu! Baba Jide don't faint. Somebody pour him water." Someone else whispered, "Maybe it's hunger. I hear he hasn't cooked soup in days." They rushed him to the government hospital. He was weak, sweaty, breathing like an overused bellows. The nurse asked him, "Sir, who should we call?" He smiled and said proudly, "Call my son, Jide Jr., my only child." They called, no answer. They texted, blue ticks, no reply. One intern tried to call another number listed under next of kin. A woman answered, "Hello?" It was Ngozi, the doctor, the quiet one. The girl he once called an expense in a skirt. The intern explained, "Your father, Baba Jide Okonkwo, is in the hospital." Ngozi paused. Then she said slowly, "Tell him, the girls he ignored have a mother, and she is now between the United States and Canada, taking care of her multiple grandkids and enjoying a well-deserved retirement to the fullest." She ended the call. No tears, no emotion, just justice. Today, Baba Jide lives in a rundown old people's home on government charity. No family visits, no birthday calls. Just him, mosquitoes, and a cracked TV that only shows local wrestling. When they ask if he has any children, he always says, "I had one, but he's busy." What he doesn't say is that his one is busy, chasing women, posting fake motivational quotes online, and now being chased by EFCC for fraud. Baba Jide had 5 children, but he chose one, The wrong one. He had 4 blessings in skirts. He rejected them. Now he has 1 lesson in a singlet. Life doesn't forget. Daughters are not curses. They are crowns waiting to be recognized. Don't chase a legacy so hard that you abandon the very people who could have built it with you. Children are not receipts. They are responsibility. And if you plant wickedness in your youth, don't expect peace in your old age. Because sometimes the rejection you gave freely becomes the silence that buries you. Subscribe to Echoes of Landa's Land for more African stories with real-life lessons, family drama, and culture-soaked wisdom. Like